I have 3 short sponsor messages before we get into today's show. First, if you have a great domain name and nothing to show when people visit, you're missing out on potential advertising revenue, leads, and partnership opportunities. NicheWebsites.com can build you a site quickly with a price option to suit any need. But as their tagline says, they don't just build websites, they build businesses. Second, if you're buying or selling a domain name or a portfolio and you want an estimate of its value, Estimate.com is the place to go. Just like you'd visit Zillow.com to get an estimate of a house value, Estimate.com provides key information about the most important statistics so you can make an informed decision based on data. Finally, DNX.com is a domain name exchange that uses a reverse auction platform to provide fair market prices for quality domain names that are manually filtered by an experienced broker. At DNX.com, domain prices drop until someone decides the price is right. But don't wait too long or the domain you love might be purchased by someone else. All 3 sponsors have a clickable banner in the upper right-hand corner of DomainSherpa.com. Here's your program. Hey everyone, I'm Michael Seiger, publisher of DomainSherpa.com, and this is the Domain Sherpa Review. This is the show where we get into the minds of successful domain name investors using real examples so we can learn strategies and tactics. We have 3 sections on the review. First, an investor-submitted domain name portfolio that we review and discuss, then a marketplace list from namejet.com, and then we're going to wrap it all up with our Name That Price game. Joining us today on the Domain Sherpa Review are 3 past Sherpas and thought leaders. In order from left to right, we have Adam Dicker, CEO of dnforum.com, nichewebsites.com, and publisher of theartofthename.com. Andrew Rosener, CEO of the domain name brokerage MediaOptions.com and partner of the reverse auction domain name marketplace named DNX.com. And Paige Howe, founder and president of JoeDomains.com and DomainOutlet.com. Sherpas, welcome to the show.
Good
Thanks, Michael.
In the domain portfolio review, we take a user-submitted domain name portfolio and provide honest and constructive feedback to the owner. If you're watching the show on YouTube, click on the link in the description below the video to look at the domain name lists that are discussed on today's show. Today's portfolio was submitted by a part-time investor named Simon. We're only going to use his first name as he has a day job and wants to keep his investments private from his work, which is totally understandable. A big thank you to Simon. He made a $200 donation to the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center as part of the submission, $100 more than the minimum required to submit a portfolio for review. So it's much appreciated, and we're all a little bit closer to finding a cure for cancer. Simon's list of 26 domain names starts with 60sfancydress.com and ends with unfairdismissal.org. Drew, let's start with you. What domains do you like on Simon's list, and what retail price would you set on them if you owned them?
Okay. I got to be honest. I had a hard time picking out many names in here that I really liked.
So in general, if you got this list from somebody that wanted to sell them, you wouldn't be enthusiastic. You wouldn't think that they're domains with really high values, marketable domains.
I mean, this is pretty similar to a lot of lists that get sent to us on a regular basis for inclusion in our newsletter. And, unfortunately, the response usually to that is, that I'm sorry, I'm not sure that these are the type of names that we could sell or that our audience would be interested in purchasing. Now, that being said, I can see that he's trying here and he's going after important keywords, but those keywords are being surrounded with, irrelevant keywords or too many other words or...
Give me an example of one of those, Drew, or give me a couple of examples. What's a good keyword, but it's surrounded by something irrelevant?
Memorabilia.com. Now, that's probably, if I had to guess, that's probably my favorite one in the list, although I still probably wouldn't register that name. Even at RegFeed, and I'm trying to be cordial about it.
Sure.
Memorabilia is a huge business. It's a huge business online. There are a lot of people that invest in memorabilia. I think Heritage Auctions, the newest entrant into the domain auction market. That's I think how they built their whole foundation of their business was in people investing in memorabilia and comic books and
Yeah.
art and stuff. So,
Yeah.
there's a market there. I mean, invest in memorabilia. I mean, you could have a blog about, investing in memorabilia, but it's memorabilia investments. I don't know. There's a million different alternatives that could be used. If I'm a guy, if I'm looking for a domain name in that space and I've got 20 options, and I go to investinmemorabilia.com and I say, okay, what's your price? And I'm comparing that to these other 20 options that I've got. Unless that name is like $250, I'm probably going to go to one of the other alternatives that probably will only be $250. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, well, where's your upside? Even if you bought that domain for $10, is it worth the one-off chance that guy might come to the needle in the haystack and want to buy your domain for $250? If you were guaranteed to sell it for $250 on every $10 domain that you buy, then sure, that's a great return. Mm-hmm. But it depends on the quality of your portfolio, but the average is generally 2% of your portfolio sell a year. And unless you're going to be doing this for the next 50 years, which I doubt any of us will be, it's just not worth it. It's not worth buying a name like that for $10 in the hopes of selling it for $250 or even $500. Yeah. Because there's too many other options.
Okay.
I guess, samedayheatingoil.com, same-day contact lenses. I mean, those have a chance that some, company does an advertising campaign, and, that's sort of their slogan, and they get a trademark on the slogan, they want to own the domain, and, they flash that across the screen to, say, let's see what kind of return we get on this particular campaign. How much traffic do we get, by, instead of flashing the domain from their primary brand, they have one specific domain for that campaign, and because they want to compare it. They want to compare the, the increase in traffic. Yeah. I can see that happening. But again, I'm not sure that it would be an investment-grade domain. Not one, if you're trying to build a portfolio for future resale, these are not the type of names that I think you should be going after, to build value.
Yeah, so more speculation, less investment. Great.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, though. Simon said that he watched the video with Rick when we talked about hand-registering domain names, and Rick registered, what was it, 2,000 domains or 200 domains, all around the custom-made. And so, he realized, he watched Rick's show, he realized that a lot that Rick registered weren't great, but he got some gems in there around custom-made blinds or custom-made whatever. And so he was thinking that these are of similar quality, same day, and something that's wildly popular, contact lenses.
I mean, look, if you got same day and you got 5,000 different products attached to that, right? And you say, okay, look, I've cornered the market on same day whatever. And you say, look, I'm going to price every single one of these at $100,000, and I'm not going to sell any of them for less than $100,000. It might be that over time there's going to be the one company that wants their same day whatever, and they're going to buy it for $100,000, and it makes all the other ones that are now that are worthless worthwhile. Yeah. But that's not the case here. You've got 2 or 3 of them, and again, it's a needle in a haystack that there's a buyer that comes along and says, look, that's the name I want. Now. Yeah. Again, these aren't horrible domains. It's not even what I necessarily say is pigeon shit, but it's, I can see where there could be value. I can see why he might have registered them. But just, again, kind of like with the last review that we did, it's like, I would shy away from registering this type of names. Instead of registering these 20, 30 names, put the $300, $500 or $1,000 into one good name and then sell that for $2,000, and then buy, 3 names, and then sell that for $5,000, and then buy 10 names. You know what I mean? So
sure. All right. Hey, Paige, let's go over to you. What do you like on this list, and why do you like it, and what would you price it at if you owned it and were going to sell it for retail?
Well, I think I tried to use a rating scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being best, and I had one name get to a 4 and 2 names get to a 3. So I think, much like what Drew said, I think I can see where he went. He would see big terms like fancy dress and then say, well, let's see if there's other TLDs. Okay, I can get the .tv. Let's see if I can get some words before it. Okay, 60s. And I guess what I have to tell myself every day is that there's a game being played every day, which is 100 million people are thinking up domain names, and they are taking the best ones, and the ones that are left for a reason. Now, that doesn't mean you can't find good hand-reg name, but I think you have to go into it with the ones that are left for a reason. So you can get life-coaching.org. We have a lot of coaching names. Life Coaching is a great name, lifecoaching.com. Then you say, I'm going to have the org, which is one derivative lower, and now you've got the dash. So, is it worth $8? Probably worth $8. But that's about it in terms of you waiting to have someone buy that name, because they're always going to be able to find something at reg fee that's probably better. And emotionally, your buyer can then think, I found it, it's my idea. There's a part of buying a name from another domainer or a premium price that says to the person, I couldn't find anything. So you're always up against your buyer finding a reg fee domain and it being theirs and them feeling like it's their ownership of it. So anyway, Board Games for Adults was the one I could rationalize being the best, because even though it was 4 words, at least they were in the right order. You'd say, well, I should get adult board games. And that kind of makes it seem more like maybe it's more sexy board games or something. So, but again, I'm really reaching to make a case for it. Martial arts memorabilia, completely agree with Drew. Yes, it's a big sport. Yes, memorabilia is big. But it's almost like a trendier sport now, so you'd want to go with gear or swag or something that was maybe a trendier word than memorabilia that would be better with baseball, golf, and maybe some of the older ones. What else got a 3? Secret menus, only because it was one of the few 2word.coms on the list. Words that made sense. But again, you're having to explain it and think about, well, it's stuff that people don't know is at restaurants, like going to In-N-Out Burger and getting a 4x4 animal style maybe.
That's In-N-Out, baby. In-N-Out Burger.
I'm having to help that name out as opposed to that name giving me panache and credibility, from the start. So I would say I would probably renew only a couple of these names. I don't know about the co-UKs. I know they're pure product names over there. I just don't have an idea of what the market is. So those are probably the best ones on the list that I would renew, and then maybe 2 of these other ones. And it's going to be harder as the years go on to let these names go, because next year he's going to have another $8 in each one of them. It's going to now I really got to keep them. Then you get up to having $50 in each one of them, and then they're really hard to let go. So yeah. I would say shoot higher, aim higher, and as long as you're going to be in the game with 25 names, try to have names that you're just shocked were available. Yeah. I mean, really have that be the bar. I can't believe this name was available, and shoot from there.
Well, let me ask you, Paige, if you own these domains and you listed them for sale at joedomains.com, boardgamesforadults.com, secretmenus.com, investinmemorabilia.com, or martialartsmemorabilia.com, what kind of price tag would you put on those?
I probably $19.50 to $24.50 on each one, just because, hey, if someone comes along, I want to get something for them. So I didn't see anything I'd put above $3,000.
Okay. Adam, what did you say right there?
I said probably he'd list them for $50K each and hope somebody buys them. Anyway.
What do you think about the list, Adam?
So obviously the Sherpas don't realize that we can be bought for $200, and we should give favorable opinions. But this Sherpa won't do that. So I didn't really like much on the list. There was one that stuck out to me. There was a couple I thought could be good. I agreed with Drew's feelings on some of them are good as marketing promos, like the same-day contact lenses, like the same-day appliances. I don't agree with Paige on secret menus. They should stay secret. Who's going to hide a menu unless it's on a website? Unfair dismissal. Is that a typo on your part or his part?
His part. Well, he either bought it that way or it's a typo on his part. But
okay, so that stinks. It would have been the best name on the list had it been spelt right.
Yeah.
GalapagosIslands.co.uk. They're somewhere near Ecuador, unless they're owned by COUK. I don't see how that's even related. Extractor fans of email extractors. I don't know. Compare Fighters. He could do a good site on like Topology. Does for UFC and boxing and stuff. So that's okay, but my favorite is the one on here that needs development, has potential to be a good business, and he'll have to build it and spend some time on it. It's the Spathroom and Spathrooms. Those are a combination spa and bathroom, and I did look at some of the pictures online. They did impress me quite a bit, although there's very, very tiny search volume for it, but it's something that he could definitely build. So I would renew those. Spathroom and Spathrooms, and I would probably keep the same day contact lenses, because that's probably the only one that really would be same day. Appliances, I don't know about. The Porn Addiction Center, I don't like it, but sign me up. MMA, mixed martial arts.clothing. It probably would have been better, MMA.clothing, but it's not horrible. I mean, there is some mixed martial arts stuff. What else I got here? Shipped to New Zealand, not bad, but too specific. And that's pretty much it. So for me, I'm going to stick with Spathroom and Spathrooms. I'm going to build it out, and I'll probably renew same-day contact lenses because it's not bad. And the rest of the stuff, it's time to get your money out of them and put them in one good domain that's probably out there on NameJet.
Well, good advice. So Simon did write in, and I sort of hold back the comments because I want to hear what you Sherpas say before I suggest something else from the investor. But Simon wrote, my favorite is Spathroom. I own the plural as well. Because it has potential. It could be a brandable for the right company, luxury bathroom market. And maybe it doesn't have much search volume today, but you agree that could be a breakout in the next 5 or 10 years, and it's worth holding on to.
I would like to own those domain names because I think I have a lot of room domain names. Like I've got dining room, and I've got media room, and I've got a bunch of dens and stuff like that. So I think the rooms are good because people are always decorating them and doing stuff with them. But I think Spathroom, I hadn't heard the term before. Once I looked it up, I mean, I figured it was probably spa and bathroom, but once you actually look it up and you see some of the pictures in Google Images, you see some pretty nice stuff in there. So I think
I totally overlooked that one. I'm gonna concur.
Oh,
I like that. I like Spathroom.
And I went last, man. I went last.
And and having it together, it's in that, to have the plural and the singular, it's nice. So I'm with you.
All right, Simon, you got 2 Sherpas that say they really like that. Hey, Adam, Simon also wrote that he's an affiliate marketer. So he buys a lot of the domain names with the idea that I can develop these if I don't sell them sort of outlook. But he's interested in selling them, and he's tried to list them on Cedo, but he's gotten no offers.
He's going to have a rough time. Keep the Spathroom, drop the other ones, and find stuff that you can actually buy and sell, because this is not going to be the list that's going to be easy to sell.
Yeah. Use the other names as,
collateral.
Yeah.
Collateral damage for Spathroom.
Multi-level marketing spam campaigns.
Yeah.
Not the scammer. There's no implication of that.
All right, last question.
It's funny on the Spathroom. It's almost like, I know it'd be great to make it brandable, but I would rather have him encourage the use of the name to have it become a generic. Where even though you'd like to be the only person selling this stuff, that means you got to trademark and protect your trademark. I think if you encouraged, through Pinterest and other places, that word getting out there, that then it would increase your value because it would be the generic of
That's what we're saying. We're not saying just keep it for yourself. We're saying make it become a household name and keep the name and start selling and promoting it and showing pictures of it. Like I found, I'm going to post those all over the place and build your Spathroom image, and hopefully other people start to sell them and somebody wants a domain name.
Yeah,
There's
good idea.
Selling spa-shaped bathrooms. They're just not calling them bathrooms yet, but they will.
Get on Urban Dictionary, define it. Get on to slang.org, define it. All those different places. Pinterest, start posting pictures. Yeah.
It's on Urban Dictionary already.
Good. The one thing I like to ask about the new TLDs because, are people making the right decisions with the new TLDs where there are more opportunities? And he had 2 on the list, the mixed martial arts.clothing, which is a long domain name. MMA.clothing would be better, but it either was reserved early or I don't know. You guys liked, one of you, I can't remember who said I think you liked mixed martial arts.clothing. That was a good pick.
I like that. I'm not crazy about cougardating.guru because if you're a guru, you're an expert. I don't know how you can be an expert on dating and look for cougars, so it doesn't work for me.
No. All right. Any other thoughts on the TLDs?
Example, with 45,000 guru names, that the availability list is into the 2 words, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you still have to challenge yourself to say, did they find every great 1 word? So cougar.guru, dating.guru, but to say that the market is so robust that it can support not just one person wanting to pay $25 a year to register this, but you need 10 people to like the name to want it. And then I agree on the mixed martial arts. Your buyer's just going to have to settle for this because they're always going to want to have in the back of their mind, I wish I had MMA. I wish I had MMA. If I could only get MMA. And Drew, you can maybe speak to this. It's hard to convince someone that the second best name is still worth a bunch because they always have in the back of their mind, right, go in for the better name. And even though you're like, mine's a great value. Mine's a great value for this price. There's still that thing that just says, I'm still hoping that I can talk the other guy out of the great name. Don't you think?
Paige,
So
compare
we
it to
had a
people.
name.
Sorry,
We
compare
had
it to people,
a
Paige.
newsletter the other day. We had a name in our newsletter the other day, bestcreditcard.com, and it was priced at like $49,000, I think. And his name has traffic, it earns revenue, it's a solid financial name. And I had a lead gen guy contact us and said, I'm interested in this name. What's the best price we can do? And we talked about it, and we got it down to a little bit better price. And then he said, well, what about the plural? Can you look into the plural for me? And we went out to look at the plural, and it was like, the guy basically won't give us a price. It's a phenomenally higher price. And so I go back to my client, and I'm like, well, look, this one's going to be well into the six figures. And he's like, well, okay, and he's kind of hesitating on the singular. And he's like, well, can you get me an exact price on the blade? And so then it was like, we still haven't got an exact price, but it was like narrowed it down that it's going to be more than $300,000, and so he's like, oh, okay, and he's like, just keeps coming back, and it's the same. It's exactly what you're saying. It's like, even though the second best option is a tremendous value compared to the first best option, he still can't wrap his head around the fun, buying the second best option because it's just that competitive nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here's a story for you.
Adam, go ahead.
Just tell him that if he was going after, let's say, since Paige is in Tennessee, the Tennessee Titans, would he be okay dating the second best cheerleader instead of the first best one? I think he'd be okay.
It actually would, yeah.
I like that.
All right. Thanks for signing.
No puns for endoscopes? No puns? Nobody?
Yeah, nobody liked endoscopes. So
that
endoscopes.co.uk had the highest Estabot value, but who's buying
endoscopes? About
endoscopes?
CougarDating.guru. If you add, maybe we could make it better if we added like Echo on the front of it.
Echo.
Cougar Dating.
You lost me.
I didn't get
It's the Echo pullback joke. You get it now.
All right, thanks, Simon, for submitting your portfolio. We appreciate your support to find a cure for cancer. We're going to move right now into the marketplace list. This section is sponsored by NameJet, and we'll be reviewing 21 domain names heading to auction soon at namejet.com. Just like the last show, these names are going to close during the Domain Fest conference running March 31st through April 2nd. So if you're interested, get your minimum bid in ASAP, $69 now. The links below go directly to NameJet. They're not commissionable links, just trackable. The list starts with brickhomes.com and ends with soccermall.com. Adam, let's start with you this round. What do you like on the NameJet list and why?
All right, so I like cell covers. I don't think that's okay. I think Get Dressed is a great name for a dress shop or a shop where people are selling high-end clothing, like for dressed up for high-end things like Grad or whatever. Golf Gap, so-so, they probably sell. Happy Girls, that's only till they get married and then they're unhappy. Inventory System, good for selling software and things like that. Kids Typing, good for educational classes, teach them how to type and stuff like that. Pet Psychic, you really wouldn't want to know what your dog's thinking, so I'll leave that one alone. Small Trees is probably one of the better ones on the list because you can buy trees for a fairly good price. I own smalltrees.ca and I get a lot of people looking for trees, and they're willing to pay like hundreds of bucks for them, so that's not bad. And the only one I would think is a trademark is BubbleJet. I think it's a Hewlett-Packard trademark. Because the brand is Inkjets and BubbleJet is their trademark. So I like Small Trees, and I think Inventory System has some potential to sell high-end software. And I'll go with Get Dressed as a high-end store for dresses and stuff.
That's sort of a brandable, right?
Yeah, it's a brandable for any clothing store that wants to be known as more high-end.
Yeah. Are you gonna put an offer or a bid in on any of these? Are they do they fit your investment strategy and tactics, Adam?
They fit my strategy, but it's not an area that I'd want to go in. Probably the one I'd want to go in would be Inventory System, but I don't plan on selling any software, and that's the only one that's ready for a business now. Maybe Cell Covers, but I still, if I was going to bid on one, it'd probably be Get Dressed, and it's not that appealing to me because I don't run a clothing store. So no, I'm not going to bid on any.
All right. Hey, Drew, let's go over to you. What do you like on the list?
Yeah, I'm not I don't love the list. There's two names that I really like. So I like Get Dressed, and that one does appeal to me. I like it. I think Get Dressed is, I love expressions that are commonly used, that are just sort of front of mind. Yell at your kids, get dressed. It's just, or whatever. We have blacktie.com, and that, people are all over blacktie.com, and it's like daily inquiries on that. The fashion industry is hot. I like Get Dressed a lot. And I really like brickhomes.com. I think I had a client like 2 years ago that was into various types of stone and patios and building materials, and I was shocked when he started telling me some of the numbers that he can generate from some of these various websites he was building on those individual names, and being in the business. So that one kind of just jumped out at me specifically because of that experience that I've had. So I like Brick Homes. I mean, Brick Tudor mansions are, there's an audience for that. There's people that are specifically looking for that type of home. It's not a name I'm going to spend a ton of money on, but it definitely jumped out at me from the list. Crunchroll.com isn't bad. I had spicytuna.com or spicytunaroll.com or something like that. We sold that for like $5,000, so it's okay. Got it for a couple $100. Oilpump.com is it's an obvious product, but I don't know how many people are buying an oil pump online, and I think the people that are probably going to like eBay Motors and just buying it. So I don't know. I'm not sure that you could, but maybe it could be somebody that manufactures them, maybe just wants to have it as sort of a nice to have type of name. Red Chili, I could see somebody buying that as a brand, kind of like there was a company, or still exists, orangesoda.com. Red Chili is kind of a edgy little brand that could be nice. I'd probably pay up to $1,000 for that name. Small Trees. I actually, for Christmas this year, when I wanted to send out some gifts to specific clients, I was trying to think of something that would be nice, something different, as opposed to, just some branded MediaOptions, stupid, tchotchke thing. And so somebody gave me the idea. I have a friend in forestry, and he gave me the idea of, why don't you send people a tree? And I was like, that's kind of a crazy idea. So I started looking into it, and there's companies out there that you can buy like rare trees. You basically tell them where you're going to be sending the tree, and they'll suggest to you various species that would do well in that area, and you can send like really expensive, really nice trees. And so the hiccup was that it was the middle of winter, and you can only send trees in the spring because they need to be planted, and you can't plant trees into the hard ground unless you're sending it to like South Florida. So so I didn't end up doing that, but I'm going to probably do something in the spring or the summer because I think it's a really cool idea.
It is.
So anyways, point is, smalltrees.com, there is a market for that.
But isn't small trees aren't those bonsai trees? Don't you want to just get bonsai.com or bonsai trees?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I think that, I don't know, I think if you were looking for if you're in the bonsai market, I mean, I don't think small trees does much for you.
Yeah.
But I like small trees for this sort of gift tree market.
All right. What do you think brickhomes.com and getdressed.com will sell for on NameJet?
In auction on NameJet, in a wholesale domain auction. Mm-hmm. I think getdressed.com will do, I bet it'll do 3 to 5. Mm-hmm. And small trees, maybe, $500, $700. And what was the other one?
Brick Homes.
Probably $500 to $1,000.
Yeah.
That small trees is going to go higher than 500 for sure. Okay. And a quick update on BubbleJet. There's no active trademarks on it.
Oh, interesting. Brick Homes, you think will only do $1,000? Drew?
I mean, it's a wholesale auction. I mean, I think
Yeah, I
I'm the
know.
only one so far that even liked the name. So I don't know.
It's got a
Maybe a little
$17,000 retail value on Esterbot, a $990 wholesale value on Esterbot.
Yeah, I think $1,000 is probably about right.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Paige, let's go over to you. What do you like on the list and why?
Well, I went through and ranked them again on a scale of 1 to 10 with, hopefully to get names that are ranked even higher than 10.
Yeah.
Brick Homes is interesting because they actually have them here in Tennessee.
Yeah, lots of them.
They don't have them in California because you need a foundation, you need all this other stuff. So it's really brick on the outside. Anyway, it's kind of hard to sell one over the internet, but where you might be able to do well is floor plans. But again, you're talking about an exterior treatment, so it's not like the floor plan of a brick home would be any different than another home. You know what I mean? Whereas if you had green homes or modular homes or solar homes or something where you really would want to look on the internet and find out, hey, what's the latest trend in homes? So that's why, even though it's a great 2-word name, it'll probably go for more. I'm not sure I would like it above 1,000, only because you really can't sell a brick home on the internet.
Well,
and I don't know
but
if there's something
sorry,
compelling.
Paige, to
niche
interrupt, but you
marketplace
can't buy like tree houses on the internet, and people go and look at tree houses all the time. They want to look at plans. They want to look at who's the expert builder. Maybe there's some massive builder in Tennessee that focuses on brick homes. Don't you think they would want to own brickhomes.com?
Yep. I bet my bottom dollar you can buy a treehouse online.
Yeah,
I agree.
To buy the whole kit, where all you have to do is go buy the wood. It's already pre-measured. So, no, I totally hear what you're saying, but I'm just saying for me to buy it and think, oh my gosh, there's a bunch of people, I'm going to find out when I talk to them, hey, Paige, if they'll tell me, it's a neat name, but I really sell a house not because it's brick. The brick is just something that goes on the outside. It's not like, so the only other thing you could do is you could talk about like the 3 little pigs and he made his house out of bricks and try to brand it or something like that. But again, you're stretching to make something. So I'll talk about what I do like. I actually liked a couple that the other guys did mention. I like locals only. I think it is a way to advertise mobily and reviews and stuff like that about restaurants and stuff where you're trying to give this idea that it's the local opinion. So, and it's kind of 2 words that go together. So I like locals only. I like kids radio. Our kids listen to satellite radio all the time, especially when they were younger. It's safe. They usually have variations of the latest songs sung by kids or something where they don't include all the extra words.
Right.
And so I think you've got a mom, family-oriented product that you can stream online and deliver and maybe go subscription-based and get, $30 a family per month, and so I like that one. And then Pet Psychic, I put it on there because people are crazy when it comes to spending money on their pets, and they probably would pay someone, and they probably would believe that by looking at the pet on a picture of a YouTube that someone could actually tell what the pet was thinking, and I think they would pay and they'd go nuts. So, I'm going to try to buy it wholesale, but I think people would pay, Ray.
There are TV shows all about pet psychics, I believe. That's probably why this one.
That guy, the dog whisperer, he came
dog whisperer.
Yeah.
He did like a what I don't know. It was in the park here in Panama, and there was literally like 5,000 people that came to see the dog whisperer. So you might be right. Pet Psychic might be a sleeper.
Yeah, it might be. So, Paige, if you were going to pick these up, and I like locals only also, if you were going to pick these up, what would you pay for locals only, kids radio, and Pet Psychic?
So I'd want to get them for between 1,000 and 2,000. And if it got above 2,000, then I'd have to really start thinking, am I going to do it? Am I really going to do it? Because again, the name needs me a little bit. I think locals only, I would be willing to keep for 4 or 5 years and just wait for someone to come at me. But I'd still want to buy it friendly. So, but I wouldn't be afraid to price it at 20 or 30 grand, or even or make offer a minimum offer 15 grand, because I think the reviews, the fact that the travel affiliate and the local Yelp space and all that has been. Someone else has shown the way to have a business model for that stuff, means that it's easier for someone to buy a brand and be in that business right away. So I think locals only was my favorite, and I probably will bid on it. But if it gets above $2 grand, I'm probably out. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen T-shirts in Hawaii that say locals only. I'm just doing a quick search on Trademark 24/7.
Yeah, it's kind of a surf term, Valley go home, locals only type thing. But I don't know.
So there are some trademarks in barbecue sauce, download music, shirts, shorts, skirts, dresses. So this one's got an asterisk next to it.
And then the product names, I think oil pump's a great example of a huge surf term that everyone knows about, that if you owned it, you'd sit there and go, what the heck am I going to do to sell oil pumps online? So now old currency I actually thought was a little better because you've got a collector market, you've got, you can pull up a bunch of eBay listings, and I tried to think, are those the best two words, I think the old isn't bad because it's just as good as vintage, it's just as good as rare, it's just as good as classic, some of the other synonyms. And then currency isn't bad because you talk about paper money. So I guess the comparable would be papermoney.com, but you wouldn't necessarily say old paper money. So I started going through the different words and saying, is this the best word on the left side and the best word on the right side? And so I gave that some value as just in that market, that there might be someone in that market that might come at me in the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. Hey, Paige, knowing that there are some registered trademarks in the United States, does that give you pause to put in a bid for locals only?
No, because it doesn't sound like you have the product and service that I'm going to use it for, which is an information directory. So obviously I would not, set up a Zaluli site or whatever that company is and brand my own clothing and try to sell it. I mean, that would be an example of what not to do. And then what did you say the other one was in? Barbecue sauce?
Barbecue sauce, yep.
I mean, I'm kind of lazy, so I don't even know if I'd go to the effort. I probably should of excluding barbecue sauce from my park page. But those three, at least those three, wouldn't necessarily scare me away from buying it.
Yeah. All right. And what about Pet Psychic? You said that if you could pick that up for $1 or $2K, it'd be a good one. What would you price that one at if you were later listing it on one of your marketplaces for sale?
I would just put it make offer, and it would be a hoper. That someone would just all of a sudden they would just really, really, really want it. I mean, I don't think I could ever, send it into a newsletter or, put it on DN Forum and say first bidder at 2,000 gets it. I don't think it has the wholesale bid underneath it to really support, getting out of it. So you'd have to be married to it.
Any final thoughts on the NameJet portfolio, gentlemen?
Yeah, those guys convinced me on Pet Psychic, and Drew, he convinced me on Get Dressed, so I put in bids for Pet Psychic and Get Dressed.
What, you're backpedaling, Adam?
Well, listen, if you can come up with a valid argument, there you go. It's just like they missed that other one.
Okay, but if you have to explain it, you guys often say that. If I have to explain the domain name to you, it's not worth it.
Yeah, the willingness.
Look, there's always exceptions. There's always.
You gotta be open-minded, Michael. This is an open-minded business.
I mean, look,
the willingness to
man,
change.
I'm ready to buy that off that guy now. I would have deleted that from my portfolio before I got Adam's explanation. Now I want to buy it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Paige, what were you saying?
Willingness to change your mind is wisdom. That's the thing that a lot of people won't do, and then they think later, darn, I should have bought that. So the ability to actually say, I didn't think of it at the beginning of the show, and now I do, that's smart.
Well, and it's also one of those things where you can't possibly think of every angle for every domain name. Sometimes somebody will come up with a reason or a way to build it out, and one of us won't have thought of it, and then when you think of it, you go, hey, that may be a good business opportunity. So you have to be open-minded. You have to listen to other people because you don't know everything. It just goes to show you, no matter how good we are, there's still another opinion that's better.
Yeah. We've got a name. We've got toyshare.com. And I thought, toyshare.com, okay, it's kind of a cool name, like, whatever, maybe it's like a secondhand toy
store,
something. And, somebody offered us like $2,500, and I accepted it. And the guy took too long to pay, and so I was just like, you know what, forget it, cancel it. And then, so I canceled the deal. Then he wrote me back saying, like, this was going to be, it was going to be like, share, like, I almost said adult toys, but it's not that kind of toys. Like,
yeah, big boy toys.
Don't get excited, Adam.
Four-wheel.
I don't know how you share adult toys.
Ferraris, jet skis, yachts.
There you go.
Snowmobiles. It was like, a way to, a website to basically,
Was it the Costello brothers?
No. And so, when they said that, I said, oh, man, that's a really cool brand for that type of thing. And so I basically told the guy to go pound sand, and he wasn't going to have it for $2,500 anymore, and he should have paid on time. And, and now I wouldn't sell that name for less than, 15, 25 grand, because I think it really is a great brand. And there was an application that I hadn't thought of that really expanded the value to that of that name, at least to me.
Yeah.
Well, good play.
And I just read on TechCrunch yesterday, VentureBeat or TechCrunch, a company just got $6.5 million funding to have a subscription service for Legos. So instead of buying your kids Legos, which we have a ton.
Play.com. P-L-E-Y.
Yeah, play.com. P-L-E-Y. Right. So instead of you can subscribe for $30 a month, and they send you a toy to put together with the instructions. Then you send it back, and you get a new one the next month.
Yeah, there won't be many colds or viruses going around in that.
Well, so that was the biggest hurdle that they had to get over, and they FDA certified that they're killing everything before it goes back out, that it's completely sterile. Sure. Yeah.
$3 for the rental and $20 for the
I talked about this yesterday. It's amazing what you think you can hide in the terms and conditions until you get that front page story that so-and-so got bird flu from it, and you're like, but our terms and conditions say it wasn't us, but it's like,
All right. We on the game now?
All right, Sherpas, we're entering the lightning round. Today we're playing Name That Price. Adam Dicker almost swept it last show, but Paige...
I need a piece of paper and a pen.
Paige, go grab a piece of paper and a pen. Paige edged him out at the last question, so Adam didn't completely shut out and embarrass the other Sherpas. Here's how the game works. I name 3 domain names that sold within the past 12 months. You write down the price that it sold at. You don't know if it's retail or wholesale. You're basically trying to guess what the retail price should be. No looking up search volume, no past sales or anything. The closest answer wins the question. All right. You guys ready?
Yep. I'm going to put on my Google hat for this one.
First up. He's just thinking Google. First up, breathalyzer.com. Breathalyzer. Breathe into it. Determines if you're drunk. Breathalyzer.com. What did it sell for? Write down your answer. All right. Let's hold them up, gentlemen. Drew wrote 118. Paige wrote 13,503. And Adam wrote 20K. Is that right? 20K. And
20,000.
Huh?
20,000.
20,000, right. And the correct answer is 115,000. Bam! Oh! Drew almost nails it on the head. All right.
That's a big market. That's a huge market. And they've come out with these apps now and these attachments for your iPhone that you can blow into.
That's a cool
and now
company.
You got it connected to your car, where if you blow it, you can't start your car.
All right, stop bragging.
That's a big deal.
It's a typo. It wasn't even spelled correctly. It wasn't spelled correctly.
Yes, it is.
How am I supposed to know if it's spelled correctly? I go by what Michael says. If he says breathalyzer.com,
you think it should be an I instead of a Y?
Come on, next.
Yeah, but I dare anyone who's drunk to spell it correctly.
All right, next up, follow.net. Follow.net. Great social media related word, but it's a .net. What do you think it's sold for? Write down your answer. All right, hold them up. 6K for Adam. Drew is saying 2.3K, and Paige has made a remarkable modification to his strategy for bidding. He's going with 4K.
He wants to win now.
This one will probably be 13.5.
So there, you guys were pretty well grouped in there. 2.3K, 4K, 6K, and the correct answer is 20K. So Adam takes this one.
I meant to say this.
What did you mean to say? 13K?
Yeah, 13,503.
All right.
So you all thought follow.net should have been 5 to 10K basically, or 5K.
Just won one of these in 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
I had an epic screw up on a similar domain name. I sold followus.com for $8,000. Followus.com I sold for $8,000. That goes down in the record books as one of my most epic screw-ups.
What should you have sold it for, and why did you make that mistake?
You know, I was probably under the influence. I don't know. I
should have taken a breathalyzer.
I should have had a breathalyzer.
Breathalyzer.
So you think follow.net was a good sale for the seller. You all thought it should have sold for less, primarily because it's a .net. If it was a .com, you would have said that it's, what, high 5 figures?
Follow.com, 6 figures.
6 figures.
Yeah. Because it's a huge social term.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the tiebreaker.
All right. Last up. Here's a good one. Appointmentapp.com. Appointmentapp.com.
I have a feeling this one's a
What do you think it sold for? Write down your answer.
sleeper.
Paige is questioning, should I go with my strategy? It's worked in the past. I've won, but Mike knows that he might not
you
let
mean
me
2
win.
weeks ago when I won, Adam? When I won?
I can't remember 2 weeks ago.
All right, you guys have your answers written down? Hold them
I
up.
can't remember breakfast.
Oh, Paige is going 13.5. Drew is going 23K, and Adam is going 14K.
Oh.
And the correct answer is $2,000. Paige gets the W on that one.
So it's a three-way tie.
It's a freaking three-way tie, and I thought
Pick
there's
another
no way
one.
we'd have a three-way tie. I don't
another
have
one.
a domain picked out.
You got to pick one more,
Yeah,
man.
We need another one. We need another. We need a
We need a tiebreaker. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna pick one out right now. So while I'm picking one out, that's an interesting one. It sold about a year ago, but with the whole .app coming out.
Oh, a year ago? What are we talking about?
Dude, I said past 12 months. I didn't say it just sold. So if you own that today, do you like wordapp.coms? Because when .app comes out, now wordapp.com might be worth more. What do you guys think?
You're trying to trick us. We don't really think it's worth that much.
Huh.
But I'm not concerned about .app.
No,
if
I'm
I-
saying
if
would
I-
the
if
com
I own
go up?
.com, I'm like
I mean, you
all
can.
about .app.
Hey, Mike, you know what the worst part is? I had this written out and I changed it.
Oh,
I lose.
I mean, I think
with that.
All right.
I think the app. It never seems like the app domains sell, but I don't think it has anything to do with .app because if they don't want appointments, and if they want appointmentapp.com for $2,000, I don't see how they're gonna want appointment.app for $30 anyway.
All right. Here's the tiebreaker, gentlemen. So we all know that the .co registry just sold to Newstar for $109 million. We're going to discuss that on the next Domain Sherpa discussion, of course. But I picked out a .co, because .co is known for, in addition to the Colombian, TLD, it's a startup domain. So graph.co sold.
What is it? Graph?
Graph, as in you're graphing a chart or, graphing data. Graph.co. What do you think it sold for? Write down your answers. All right, gentlemen. Let's hold up those answers. Paige is going with 15K. Drew is going with 40K. Wow. All right. And Adam is going with 1K. And the closest is... Oh, it was a sleeper win for Paige Howell.
Oh!
The correct answer is 10K it sold for.
That's cheap. I actually I had a client hire us to go after graph.com. And funny enough, it was totally unrelated to Facebook's graph search, but it was about 10 days before Facebook announced their whole graph search algorithm.
Yeah.
And we went after graph.com, and we offered into the 7 figures for that name, and seller turned it down. And so to think that the .co sold for 10 grand, I would, I think it was a good price. Somebody got a good deal.
Yeah.
Well, Paige, here you go, Paige. I gotta be a good sport.
Oh, you're a good man, Adam Dicker.
Congrats.
Nice. All right. 30 seconds apiece to promote anything you want. Adam, let's start with you.
Okay, so the cord blood business I've been running for a few years has taken off like crazy. Great opportunities. You sell a kit for like $2,000, you make $800 off of it. No better lead gen opportunity. I'm now looking for new affiliates after the Domain Fest show. And if you're interested, you can email me at adam@dcg.com. but wait till after the Domain Fest show. Lots of room. You can take a whole city, and you can sell to the maternity places. You can sell to hospitals, doctors' offices, gynecologists, anybody who's into maternity, and we give the doctors a kickback as well that doesn't come from your money. Huge opportunity, huge money.
Okay, so you want them to email you if they're interested in being a part of that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's no upfront cost to them whatsoever.
Cool. Drew, what do you want to promote?
So today was kind of a special day for me. I'm a founding member of a local organization here called Esperanza San Felipe.
And that's in Panama, right?
And that's in Panama. That's here in Casco Viejo, Panama, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And we have on the outskirts of our neighborhood a sort of ghetto. And it is being gentrified, which has caused some, gangs to come up. And they're young adults. And our organization basically takes in, so this was our second phase. The first round was like 8 people. This round was about 20, 25. And we just had graduation today of that second round. So we take these guys in. They're young adults. It's not for everybody. It's for people that really have some vision of the future, so they can envision themselves being out of that environment. And so we help get them skills, and we build up their confidence and entrepreneurial spirit, and show them the possibilities. And over a 6-week period, they meet with psychologists, and really we have an amazing team of professionals that work with these guys over that 6-week period. And at the end, the guys that succeeded, not everybody gets through the program, but this round was really good. We had 2/3 of the guys get through the program. Today was graduation this morning, and I'm really excited about the program and the growth. And we've got a lot more supporters, but we need more. And,
awesome. And if people want to learn more about it, and maybe even like make a donation or something, is there a URL that they can visit?
Yeah, it's Esperanza. Hold on a second. It is Esperanza svc.org. So that's ESPERANZASVC.org.
Cool. I also created it below. And so why couldn't you get them ESVC.org?
I'm going to work on that, as a matter of fact. But I did create a URL shortener to the donation page, which is x.co/GA. x.co/GA. That'll take you right to the donations page, and there's also some more information about it.
Awesome.
Even $25 helps. It's but it's an amazing program, and this morning was a graduation, and it was really emotional to see these kids that literally come from less than nothing. And this was, today was a very meaningful day in their lives. I mean, it was, you got guys that, these are hardcore gang guys, and they're crying, and their families can't believe it, and it was really emotional. Awesome. It was a very exciting day.
Great. Well, congrats for being a part of that and graduating another class, and we look forward to hearing about more graduations coming up. And so we'll go to x.co/GA to be a part of that metamorphosis over there in Panama. Paige,
appreciate it.
Anything you'd like to promote for for 30 seconds, minute?
I'll keep going with .la. We're going to put up another probably 40 .la names at $99, and you'll get the link to the store. Go to ilove.la, and it'll have a link to the store. And if you like GOTLDs, then LA is pretty big, and you'll have it in advance of going to Domain Fest. So when you look around LA and Domain Fest, you'll say, I own whatever it is that you want in .la. So that's what we're doing.
I do love .la. I was born down there. We're all 4 of us are heading to Domain Fest. I had mentioned before the show I wasn't going to air this until when we're down there, but I think I should air this now. We're all going to be at Domain Fest. Come find us. When you look at the program and see Paige on stage, be sure to stand up and heckle him because he's going to be doing the DomainSherpa Review live. He's not calling it the review, but
snaking us. He's snaking us.
Heckle Paige. Get out there and support him.
Boo.
And if you receive benefit from today's show, please post a comment below and thank today's Sherpas. You can also click the button to thank them on Twitter. All it takes is being signed in and clicking that button. Thanks to Simon for submitting his portfolio for review and making a generous donation to help find a cure for cancer. Thanks to NameJet for submitting their portfolio and sponsoring the Domain Sherpa review. And thanks again to our Domain Sherpas for sharing their experience and insights. See you, gentlemen, down in Hollywood.
See you in Hollywood.
On the
We'll
Walk
see
of
y'all
Fame.
next. We'll see y'all next show.
Take care.